Hey there, this is Dr. Pam Perry, and we have a guest today that we are waiting on. She's going to be showing up shortly. So, right after this, we're going to bring up Sonia Dumas, and she's going to be our guest today, and we're going to be talking about sales.
Are you ready to elevate your speaking career and be a part of a movement that amplifies Black voices? Speakers Magazine is your go-to resource highlighting top speakers, industry insights, and strategies to take your platform to the next level. Subscribe today and unlock the blueprint for speaker success. Visit www.speakersmagazine.com, the #1 magazine for Black speakers. Subscribe now and start your journey to success. Amplify your voice. Subscribe today.
Hey there, how are you?
I am well, Dr. Pam. How are you?
Good, good. You're looking good. I usually like to have people like 5 minutes before just to check their sound and their lighting, but you look fabulous. You look fabulous. So I am so glad that you are joining us today. I wanted to just talk really, really quick about sales because that's something that most speakers aren't really kind of like, I don't know if I really like that or not. But let's talk about sales
Yes.
and dig into a little bit of your backstory. So, for those of you all who aren't familiar with Sonia, she is the founder of Inbox Income. I'm sorry, I'm
You're
so
good.
quick to get to the income, but Inbox Income, and she helps speakers and consultants attract premium clients without funnels, chasing, or content overwhelm. That's like posting too much, right?
Yeah.
Last year, Sonia left audiences in shock at NSA Influence as she brought rich clarity to how every business owner can use AI to get more of what they really want. But here's a twist. Sonia didn't come with the typical digital marketing background. She's a former brand strategist for luxury lifestyle hotels where she crafted unforgettable experiences for high net worth individuals and top tier companies. When she pivoted into consulting, she brought that same mindset, create value rich, high trust experiences, but this time inside the inbox. If you're tired of playing the funnel game and tired of being ghosted by curious prospects, and you're ready to learn how to quietly attract high caliber clients using simple tools and human connection, Sonia's about to pull back the curtain. This is one of those episodes that changes how you think about client acquisition forever. So grab your notepad. This one's going to be packed. I just want to say, I just love that. You know what I'm talking about. Like that is like easy peasy because I've been on the podcast all day and nobody has done that. So yeah. So
Uh-huh.
oh my God. I was just on really, really quick, Sonia, with Ron Story from Speaker Hub, and we were talking
Mhm.
how speakers need to sell products
Yeah.
beyond just like, I'm gonna grab a microphone and talk on your stage. So
Mhm.
the whole session that we talked about was really like, okay, maybe from the book, you pull out 20 products, maybe you do a live event, maybe you do an
Mhm.
experiential event, whether it's
Mhm.
or in person, but something where the experiences speak. So this is perfect on time. I'm primed right in the mindset here of
Mhm.
where we are going with this. And I
Uh-huh.
want to say I heard about you.
Mhm.
I wanna say either it was Alfred Edmonds or John Register.
John Register.
Okay, that was it.
There
Okay.
we go, Mr. Register.
John Register, who I had on the
Mhm.
podcast as well, and he, is an award-winning speaker as well with that,
Yes.
obviously with he's in NSA as well, but he really learned so much from you that he was just like, "Wow, wow." And tell me, one of the things you talked about is about you taking him and showing him about the AI. Now,
Mhm.
AI really came on the scene the way we know it probably last yearish or so,
Mhm.
but it was really before that. I would say even during the pandemic, I was using Jasper, or was it?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Jasper. It was okay.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's getting better, and every reiteration is going to get better. But tell us about how you first came into the space of all of this, and it became a wow moment for you in
Mhm.
terms of like speaking at NSA, and people were like, "Oh my God, I just love this lady." So tell us how you ran into it. But
So let's see. So AI officially to the public, OpenAI released in November of 2022. And by a month later, I just started playing with it. And one of the things I was working on at the time was a client project. And it was so difficult to, when I would ask, who's your ideal client? Right. And then, oh, everybody, da, 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 da. And it just was like they had no idea who their ideal client was. And it was like pulling teeth. And this is like the bane of marketing. You really can't do great sales and marketing if you do not know who your people are and how you serve them. So it was around, I would say, January that the question just popped in my head. Well, doesn't AI, who's been studying humans for the last 20 years on the internet, doesn't it know a little bit about everybody's target audience? So I started asking it questions, and all of a sudden I had the entire ideal client profile built out. And this is when AI was rough. Like 2023, it sounded very robotic, but the intel was incredible. And so I submitted that report. I sent to the client, is this your ideal client? Oh my gosh, how'd you know? I was like, okay, I am sold. This is a marketer's dream because the hardest thing to figure out is ICP. And so from there, I was like, I am sold. So I have seen the iterations of what AI sounded like in 2023 to now. It's practically its ability to communicate at a human level is astounding. And I've done enough tests where I've sent pretty much I've written an email and I've had AI write an email, write some, and it's like, can you tell the difference? And what's interesting is when people light up on the AI content, I was
yeah.
like, "Ooh," because it's resonating. It's not so much as the AI content is the message resonating? And so I look at it as if it's achieving its goal to help break through a mindset and move people forward, then it's accomplished its job, which you
Yes.
struggling to do. And it's
Yeah.
now helped you move people forward because not everyone's a writer. I'm a copywriter as well. So I
Oh, okay.
I love copywriting, so I'm a wordsmith, and I love how you put words together that shifts people's mindset. So from that point, I've been sold on everything that AI can do in the sense of I call it advisory intelligence because
Yeah.
there's nothing artificial about AI. That's just a marketing term. So
Right.
that way you don't take it as seriously, but it is one of the most incredible pieces of technology that's available to everyone. And so when you approach it from an advisory intelligence, how can you give me that intel that I can then use strategically to go and talk to my market, create those products and services? AI can help you do that. Doesn't have to be hard anymore, y'all.
Oh my God. That
Yeah.
is, you said, everybody has their defining moment of when they realize that I'm gonna go all into AI. But you're early adopter, so a month after chat
Yeah.
came out, you were on it.
I was all in it.
I was against chat because I was into Jasper.
Mhm.
So I was like, no, nothing's gonna beat Jasper. But anyway, so I finally did come into the chat world. But then I used Claude and I used different ones. So now I'm
Yes.
playing around with all of them. Perplexity. But
Yeah.
there was something that you said that it's an advisory and then you're a copywriter. So you
Yes.
know good copy when you see it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then you don't use it to replace you, it's advising you. And
Yeah.
it's like an assistant. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna give you a quick story about when I became a really big chat GPT AI
Mhm.
uh fan.
Mhm.
And it was a defining moment when I had a difficult client that could not understand what was going on, and she was a little perturbed at me, and I was perturbed at her, and we were perturbed at each other. And I reached out to a colleague, and I said, "Listen, look at this email this woman wrote me." I said, "I'm about to cuss her out," and she said, "Well, give me a minute. I'll come back and I'll send you something. What is it that she needs to feel?" I said, "She needs to feel like she's Beyonce of whatever, whatever." And, I'm
Mhm.
just trying to tell her that we've got to work to this. And I got her and we gonna work there, but we got to take it step by step. Or she said,
Yeah.
"But what does she want to feel?" So I gave her some things and she read the email. Less than 5 minutes later, she sent me back this email and I was like, "Oh my God." I said, "I owe you money." So I sent the client that email and she became my best friend. She said, I'm so sorry. I totally get what you're doing, da da da, this and that. And at that point, I knew that the
Mhm.
emotion that I was feeling, I could not have written it because I was so charged up and like, "Ugh."
Mhm.
And so I realized at that point that it could take my feelings,
Mhm.
and not robotic. It wasn't robotic, but it
Yeah.
really understood the client. And
Yes.
at that point, that's when I it was a game changer for me. I was all in. I was like, it is something that I could have never done.
Yes.
And the person that my colleague who sent me the thing, they says, "Girl," she says, "Yeah, I told you you should have been using this." I said, "You all stuck on that Jarvis." She says, "You or Jasper, whatever it is." She
Yeah.
says, "You gotta get off of that." I was like, I am." So everybody has their defining moment. But I want
Yeah.
to talk really, really quick too, because you said something too about funnels and why funnels repel high level clients.
Mhm.
And basically it's like everybody's always talking about these funnels and no shade if you use click funnels, but
Mhm.
if you're
Mhm.
trying to use it for high level clients, give us a little bit
Mhm.
of background about what you mean about that.
Yeah, so, when you go down the road of funnels, you have to really ask what is a funnel for? And what is it selling and understanding who your clientele is. So if it's a newbie entrepreneur, you're selling a course, you're selling, hacks and tricks and toolkits. It's easy to a funnel is a low touch, right? Low touch, pretty much no touch, but definitely high volume, scalable. And during the 2020, during all this disruption, that became the way. However, one of the things I've recognized, coming from luxury hospitality is it's always about the relationship. When you're at the executive, high net worth, premium, top tier clients, it's always about the relationship. They don't go through funnels.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not buying $20, $30 products either. They're usually investing heavily or spending very heavily on an experience or a solution that's going to generate them more money. So it's a different level of clientele that goes through a funnel versus the clientele that wants hands-on. And what's interesting is we're now at an intersection. I talked to countless speakers and consultants, their funnels and their courses are not selling. And I said, yeah, but who you're selling to? Are you selling to the C-suite? When's the last, if you consider yourself to be in the C-suite, when's the last time you went through a 10-hour course on anything?
Mm-hmm. Right. They don't have the time for that.
Yeah,
They want
no,
to,
but right.
they want someone to do it for them.
Right.
Exactly.
Do it
Mm-hmm.
for them. And they're usually managing multi-million dollar, billion-dollar companies. So they need serious products, right? Serious services, serious strategies. Because if they get it wrong, I was just speaking with a gentleman's name is Mark Hunter, the sales hunter. And we just had lunch the other day. And one of the things we were talking about is when you live on the edge of now, which is what technology has us on. We are on the edge of right now. You have zero buffer to make mistakes, zero buffer for risk. You have zero buffer to, well, we'll get back to it in 6 months. We'll circle back to it in a year. By that time, market has shifted, clientele has shifted, so much has shifted. And so you have to be on the forefront. Well, being on the forefront means that you need to focus on strategies and solutions that keep you on that edge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a different space to be versus, oh, well, we're planning out 10 years, 20 years, we got time. No, you don't. No, you don't, because the way things are moving, I say a couple of things. AI is eating AI, right? So one AI app comes out and another one comes out that's
Yes.
even way better
Yeah.
within weeks, right?
Yeah.
Like
Like
not
Claude.
years.
Yeah. Like Claude. I like
Yeah,
Claude
Claude
too.
just yeah, I love Claude. Like Claude's one of my faves, and it's interesting seeing the two how they're competing between Chat and Claude. I said
Yeah.
sometimes one's better than the other, sometimes a blend of both. Just
Mm-hmm.
depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
Yes.
But like, just recognizing that, AI is eating AI. I like the most intense space to be in is tech because you come out with a product and it's easy to be copy pasted, replicated within, weeks to a few months. The other thing that we are living in a time, I was just talking with a friend. I said, you do know that billion-trillion-dollar companies are now publicly fighting each other. This is talk about competition. Like before, it was always kind of low key. You maybe hear, okay, this one sued that one, no big deal, right? Like it's low level. This is up front. I was like, y'all, billionaires are fighting billionaires at the tech level, at the how do we stay on the competitive edge, and we are all in the aftermath of that. So whatever
Mm,
happens to OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, whatever, these companies that are developing this next level edge technology, we're all a part of the ripple effect of that. You don't have any control. And so
mhm.
this is where, as small businesses, speakers, consultants, boutique ones, the charge or the challenge, I say, is go higher.
Go
Because
high.
if what you're doing is basically AI can do, then you're not you're replaceable very quickly. But
Mhm,
what I find is, as consultants and speakers, our best strengths are strategy, coming in with, because it's one thing to have data. We are about to, like, we are in hyper data overload. But
yes,
once AI can tell us, oh, here's what you can do with the data, it now becomes, how do I strategically use this, deploy this? How do we execute this in the market so it makes an impact at the bottom line and the top line and everything in between? And
it is.
so we are all being challenged to go higher if you want to. Otherwise, you're bottom feeding, whether or not you like it, or whether or not you acknowledge it or not. It's being commoditized and bottom feeding. And I guarantee, like, that's a race to zero. Hence why I speak about, like, zero buffer. Like, if we start to recognize that we don't have enough margin anymore to take a long time to figure out where do I fit, like, it's going to be challenging to thrive like you
Mhm.
want to.
Yeah, one of the things that you said, Sonia, and I really, really like what you're saying, is that it's a race to the bottom. And you have to find that people were in the information age, but they can get information at anywhere. So
Mhm,
at one point in time, it was like, okay, come to my website, exchange your email, and you'll get this free whatever, whatever.
mhm.
And you can get that anywhere. So no one's really like building their list anymore because they're getting all this free information. We're in information overload because we're in information age. You can use Perplexity, you can use chat, whatever. So
Mhm.
that's not the thing. What they want is something that's personalized, something that is more high touch
Yes.
without you really burning yourself out with it as well. And relationships are always going to be something that will make you a differentiator as well.
Yes.
So being a part of groups, whether it's NSA or whether it
Yes.
is, I'm a part of Black Door Society or your eWomen Network or any of
Mhm.
those type of groups where you're developing relationships, I would say like the old school marketing way, where you're really meeting people, but you have these other tools that you can use that will make your services more valuable because you
Mhm.
have data now and you're using strategy, but you have relationship with people. And
Yeah.
so once you have the relationships with people, which you can that can't be replaced because you
Yes.
know someone, you've known them for years. Like I said, I heard about you through John Register, and John Register
Mhm.
I heard about through Robert Kennedy, and then Robert Kennedy
Uh-huh.
I heard about through Lethea, and then Lethea I heard about through Dr. So it's
Yes.
this whole little circle. But there is something that I want you to talk about, the silent engines that do the
Mm.
selling before you show up, and you talk about the attention engine. Attention is
Mhm.
currency right now, but
Mhm.
how to get seen without posting 24/7. So I'm a publicist by trade,
Mhm.
and I feel like these folks are just gonna wear themselves out with this posting. I'm like, "Y'all gotta stop." It's like everybody's posting this great AI generated content, but, talk about that, about the trust engine, the offer engine, all that kinda thing, the 3 engines.
Yes. So, and they're my favorite 3 engines because they're all necessary, right? Back in the day, that, was, to your point, it was just get people to the funnel and the funnel will do the rest. That's all you had to do, drive traffic to the funnel. But when you're, to your point, when you're developing relationships, it's about getting attention in front of the right people. So,
Mhm,
there's a difference between, trying to get attention at, like, a swap meet flea market versus trying to get attention at a high executive summit. Very
mhm,
different crowd, right? Very different market. And so the attention engine is all about, one, where are your people? So it goes back to, who are your people? Like, so let's say they're all on LinkedIn, and most executives are at this point.
mhm,
So your people are on LinkedIn. So, so why are you on TikTok? Like, what's the point of being everywhere else? There's nothing wrong with posting everywhere, but just knowing, where are you showing up. So it becomes down to, who's your audience. Okay, you're showing up on LinkedIn. And, are you just collecting connection requests from those SEO guys who are like, hey, right? Am I the only one that gets the, hey, I'm like, does anybody even use Google like that anymore?
No,
Like,
get
why
away
are
from
we
me.
talking about SEO? I was like, they are hanging on by a thread. They don't know what to do. But so now, I know, poor things. Look, you all had a good run, 20 years. Be happy.
Yeah, they had a good, they got the bag. Now go sit down.
Yeah. Or go pivot like the rest of us. And
Mhm.
so the attention engine, and this is one of the things I teach my clients, is get your whole focus with connections is once you know your ideal client, those are the only people you should be building relationships with on LinkedIn. Like, why are you building relationships with managers and directors and all these random folks that can't make a budget decision, can't make a decision, have no authority to do anything. And you're wondering, well, I got 10,000 followers. I said, yeah, but half of them are like in middle management. What is that
Mhm.
supposed to do for you? So one of the things I'm also at a point, I'm not impressed with anybody's numbers. I don't care how big your numbers are. Show me the quality, because I would rather have 1,000 people following me and they're all high level CEOs than 10,000 following me and half of them are the SEO crowd.
Right,
like,
exactly.
I'm good. Like, so in,
Quality over quantity for sure.
quality over quantity. And this doesn't, this applies to anyone. Like, one of the things, so I have a brother, he's a muralist and he paints walls.
Ooh.
He paints amazing mural walls. He lives in Austin. And when he moved to Austin, he was like, okay, because he came from LA and he had a big designer network. And so he's like, okay, I'm starting from scratch. I'm in a new city. I'm in a new space. I have pivoted. And so what do I do now? And I said, simple, bro. I said, and his people are on LinkedIn. I said, focus on only connecting with interior designers and architects. That's
Mhm.
all you do. And that's all he's built his. I said, fine if the friends and random folks come along, but only interior designers and architects. And he stays busy
Oh,
painting
good, good.
massive walls, but he's also gone bigger because he's not painting a nice little 12 by 12 piece of art. He's painting an entire like office wall, right? Like living
Wow.
room walls,
Yes.
building walls. And
Mhm.
so it's also, this is why I talk about going big. It's about your offer too. So your attention engine is being highly specific, who your audience is, and only going after them full time. Doesn't matter who else filters in, full time. I need to talk to the C-suite. That's the only people we need to talk to. And the gatekeepers have disintegrated. There really are no gatekeepers because you can literally reach out to them on LinkedIn, but not spammy. You're building the relationship. And then
Mhm.
the trust engine, this is where most fall apart. The trust engine is not just your social posts, because we already know. I feel like I was talking to a friend about how social we're in this what they call it, Stockholm syndrome. Social media has us in this like captive Stockholm syndrome where 10
We
years
hate it.
ago, right?
Mhm.
10 years ago, you could post and 100% of your people saw your posts. Now it's something like 6% or less. Yet people are still thinking, well, I posted and I have 10,000 people. I said, you're lucky if 1,000 people saw it. Like,
Right.
that's a good day. So,
Mhm.
and then hence why we're seeing the posting all the time, because, okay, well, let's play the algorithm game. Let's comment, let's, DM pitch and spam all the time. And I'm like, that's not necessary. Recognize that your trust engine is not necessary. It can be your social posts, but your trust engine is actually in your emails. Do you realize you are the algorithm of your emails?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
what's interesting is I was thinking about this. I
I
said,
love email.
we delegated when we went to social media. We said, oh, the social media algorithm is going to get my people to believe me, trust me, and then buy from me. And that worked for a long time.
Yeah.
Not working now. It doesn't
Mhm.
work now. And so it's like, well, what do we do? I said, well, your email, how? Oh, well, I email once a week. Okay, are you going to build trust with somebody based on once a week? Especially showing up digitally. And when you do show up, all you're doing is pitching. Like, if you're showing up once a week, you are forced to pitch every single time. But if
Mhm.
you are showing up with, whether you call it thought leadership, I call it mindset shifts.
Yeah,
If you are
thought
showing
leadership
up,
too.
right?
Right. Leading with your
Every
thoughts.
Yeah, being with their thoughts and helping to break down the paralysis, because it really is a level of paralysis to say, should I be able to move forward? Is this the right time? Is this the product? Is this the service? Is this my problem? You're helping them see multiple facets of whatever your service or product that ultimately solves that. But by you
Mhm.
showing up consistently at least 3 times a week, speaking like a CEO, not a robot pitching, you're that engine that when you do drip in an offer, that says, oh, like, hey, you can get on a call with me. I have this product. I have this event coming up. Then it becomes, oh, yeah, you know what? You've been talking to me every week for multiple weeks, not just once a week, but at least 3 times. So that's what the trust engine is about. You're literally building trust. Trust is both earned and built at the
Mhm.
same time. Like the minute like John Register said, "Hey, I'm going to introduce you to talk to Pam," I'm like, "Great." Like the trust was already there,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah.
then now it's up to you and I to build on that, right? So there was a level of,
Awareness. Mhm.
awareness, a little bit of introductory like, okay, like, all right, I'm gonna trust she's gonna show up, we're gonna have a great time. But now it's like, okay, but it's up to us to then continue to build that relationship. So that's what the trust engine is about. I said, you're the algorithm of your email. And what I
Mm.
find is then most don't want to do much. Well, can chat do that for me? I was like, does chat know what's going on real time with you and your clients being a human?
Right.
Because you can speak emotionally in a way that chat and AI can't just yet, right? Like it's getting there, but it can speak to topics and what's going on in the world in a way that that can help you with your content, right? And I
Mhm.
look at it as more than just content; it's a conversation because
It is
content's so
conversation.
nebulous. It's
Yeah.
like content people treat it like it's like once again just general free information anywhere. But if you treat it like a conversation, by the time they actually hear your voice on a call, then it's like, I already know you. I know what you're about. How do we get started? What solutions do you have for me? The conversation's a lot different. And then lastly, to your point about packages and products, your offer. What's
Yeah.
your offer?
Oh my
And
goodness.
once again, that's where so many fall flat because, with the funnel courses, join my membership and hang out in the community. Okay, once again, we're C-suite. I don't have time to be hanging out at the digital water cooler. Right, in a community. I need solutions, and so this is
Mm.
requiring, as speakers and consultants, we have to create higher level packages that are more hands-on. And it
Mhm.
may be like, oh, so instead of serving 200, I can only serve 4 this month. Yeah, but at 20,000 a pop,
Right.
20,000 an engagement minimum.
Mhm.
Who's really mad at that?
Yeah. That
I'm
that
not.
is really a whole thing. It reminds me of the book is 10x is better than 2x.
Yes, 2x. Yes,
Yeah.
Dr. Hardy. Woo.
Yes, it
Yes.
reminds you of that because you're doing the same amount of
Mhm.
effort, but you're not getting the same amount of return. So yeah, I like that. So attention engine, the trust engine, and the offer engine. I really like the fact about the
Yes.
trust without
Yes.
building the credibility without the salesiness because it's one of the things that I find that social media when I look at people doing the social media, it's so braggadocious and so I mean, I'm
Mhm.
all for people promoting,
Yeah.
but it's so over the top that it's like I don't trust it. I don't. It's
Yeah.
just too much. And it's like, oh, it's too much spin, too much floss, too much of everything. It's too much. And
So glossy.
and so people feel like they have to be there because like you said, they'll feel like Stockholm syndrome if they're not or FOMO if I'm
Mhm.
not there. I've got to keep
Mhm.
and the algorithms have changed because you have to pay to play now.
Oh,
So
yeah.
in order for your stuff to be seen, Meta is saying you got to pay me in order for people to play with you. Okay. So that's
Mhm.
a whole nother thing. So that's why I really like media too, because that way
Yeah.
people can go and get the quote unquote the earned media because now you
Yeah.
earn credibility. So that is really, really key. So we got a few minutes left, Sonia. I
Mhm.
want to why did you name your company what you did? Inbox. So that's the
Uh-huh.
part. Yeah, yeah.
Inbox income. One, I love the sound of it, but
Mhm.
it's also in the inbox. You have so much, like all your contracts come through your inbox, all your invoices, your money comes through the inbox,
There
and
you go.
so it's recognizing the reason I use income and not inbox sales, inbox revenue, because income is also about what you get to keep. Because
Ah,
there are like countless. I was having conversation with a consultant who on the verge of bankruptcy because built out a whole team making millions, but the team and everybody else was getting paid except them.
oh,
And
yeah.
so had to
It
pivot
was
and
just
said,
revenue,
yeah,
but
it
not
was
not
just
income.
revenue, but not
Right.
income. And so
Mhm.
to me, it's like, why are we doing this? It's not just for the revenue. It's not just for the sales. It is for the relationship. I call it impact and income because when you make an impact and you get paid very well, that income fuels you to keep making an impact. And it's a lovely, virtuous cycle. But
Yeah.
if you're making impact and not getting paid, that's a problem. If you're getting paid and not getting impact, that's a relationship destroyer. So
Mhm.
it's about both, and it's about continuing to expand that. And so that's what, I play with that. And because, my specialty is writing in emails, I love the inbox. Like I said, I'm the algorithm of it, and I get to decide like what those conversations are. You get to decide what those conversations are in the inbox. And if you're good, oh my gosh, people don't want to hear from you that often. Look, here's some crazy statistics. Half of all emails is spam. So about 49%. Okay, put that out of the way. Google's good at filtering most of that. But
Yeah.
then the other thing is, there was a survey, 58% of people check their email first thing in the morning before they check social or news.
Mhm. They
So
do.
you have the and how many times have you opened the same email multiple times, right?
Mhm.
5,
Mhm.
10, 12 times versus social, you're just scrolling through and you may never see that post again, even if you
That's true.
save it. And so
Mhm.
being recognizing that your inbox is such a powerful communication tool in order to be able to build that relationship, build the trust, send your invoices, send your proposals. We
Mm.
all like since the internet started, email has been the longest
Right.
going format media that is not going anywhere. I mean, until it can download directly into our brain. Email's the mail. And how long has the mail been around? So like
Right.
email is built into our world and our life. And it's actually interesting actually how direct mail is actually making a comeback. But
And people don't get locked out of
yeah.
their email,
Yeah.
whereas someone may be locked out of their Facebook or locked
Mhm.
out of my Instagram,
Yeah.
or you just violate a community, violation of a community rule on YouTube, whatever. It's like you
Yeah.
could get locked out because you don't own it, but I do
Yeah.
believe that you
Yeah.
do need to use email. I email my list and I talk to them probably 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And it's usually one is a newsletter, one is a
Yeah.
podcast, so I'm giving them
Yes.
information as well, but it's
Yes.
always about PR marketing. I may throw in like a personal thing, like it was my birthday and or something like that,
Yeah.
but for the most part, it's usually about what it is that I do, knowing
Mhm.
and reminding them that I service them for speakers for PR.
Yes.
That that
Yes.
that's really it. So yeah, I want people to understand that. So Inbox Income, that's the name of your company, but they
Mhm.
can find out more about you at soniadumas.com. I like
Mhm.
how you put it up there on
Yeah.
your, tag, and I always tell
Yeah.
people to do that, even on Zoom, you can put that on there,
Yeah.
like soniadumas.com, but you gotta own your name before you can even do that, so that's a whole
Yeah.
'nother level where people gotta like, "I gotta buy my name," but I can see why John Register said, "You got to have her on, I gotta have you back, this is really, really good, I wanna have
Yes.
you on my other podcast called Get Out
Ooh.
There, Get Known, and we can go deeper into the other items that you put on there because it's about how to get out there and get known without becoming
Yes.
salesy or spammy." And so
Yeah.
that's a whole nother conversation, but I love how you break it down for speakers in terms of really like how and to harness that high level caliber client. And that is really
Yes.
without burning yourself out. It's really it.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Yeah. One of the things I feel is that the sales bullpen has made it too social where we're all selling and hustling, and that like once again, you're a CEO, you're a founder, you're a leader. You don't have to do all that, right?
Yeah.
So you can actually show up at the level of professional, and not say it's unprofessional, it's at the level that you feel is professional for you. Right.
Mhm.
And if it is hoodies and, a black t-shirt and in a podcast, that's fine. But if it's a little bit more elevated and discerning, show up. And that's one of the cool things that's actually happened in the last year is that you can be authentic, and you can truly show up exactly as you want. You don't have to be copy and paste. You can go faceless, YouTube, you can do podcasts, you can show up wherever because we've all found our space. There's the Instagram folks, there's the LinkedIn folks. We've all found our space so you can truly show up in the authentic way you've probably wanted to always do, but marketing told you got to, do a TikTok reel and that's the only way you can show up. It's like, no, I'm good
No,
now.
can do
I'm
that.
good.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love LinkedIn. That's one of my favorite spots.
Yes.
Is there a book that's coming out soon?
You keep asking, so many people keep asking, so you're the nth person, right? Soon. I think I'm down the road of probably next year, for
Okay.
sure, a book. I'm I have so many ideas. My brain goes at like 10,000 miles an hour. And, but I am thinking through what that's going to look like. All I do know is my book is going to be an experience, y'all. So don't
Okay.
expect Amazon KDP over here.
Okay. All right. Good, good, good. I just feel that that is the next thing. So I wanted people to make sure that they get on your conversation list,
Yeah.
soniadumas.com, so they can kind of know when that's going to take place, because I can see
Mhm,
that coming up soon, because
mhm,
John Register said that you were absolutely amazing and you do different events and you do coaching and things like that. So thank you
mhm.
so much. We do need this. Thank you so much, Sonia,
You
for
were
joining us
welcome.
today. All righty.
You
God
were
bless you.
welcome. All
Take
right. God
care.
bless you too. Ciao.
Bye-bye.